Now, last week we looked at a car audio system for under £500. So you were very much limited on what you could choose there. Now, with £1,000, you've got a lot more options. You can look at better subwoofers, you can look at door speakers, you can look at amplifiers. So you have a lot more options and a lot more choice for better quality equipment. So let's go for it. Okay, so we've got three options here for your £1,000 budget. Now, first of all, we're going to be looking at changing your head unit and upgrading your subwoofer. Now, obviously, this being a £1,000 budget, the last time we looked at this, you're going to be looking at kind of keeping it nice and cheap. Now, you've got a lot more money to spend, so you're going to end up with a lot better equipment. So first of all, we're going to be looking at the Kenwood DMX 5020 DABs. Now, I've already done a review on this on the channel. And as you'll probably know, this is a fantastic head unit. This is one of our best-selling head units. You've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, DAB radio, Bluetooth streaming, and obviously the Kenwood brand as well. Now with this, you will need a fitting kit depending on your vehicle. Now an average fitting kit cost is around £100 roughly. So we're gonna add that into the cost. So you've got £100 for the fitting kit, and then this unit here is £440. Now next we have the Rockford Fosgate subwoofer. So this is a P500-12P. This is an active ported 12-inch subwoofer box. So active meaning you have a built-in amplifier. So on the side, you've got an amp built in, and it's a 12-inch driver, ported enclosure, and it all comes straight out of the box like this. So the only other thing you will need is a wiring kit. So the subwoofer is rated to 500 watts RMS, so very, very good power. It being ported also in a smaller vehicle especially, you're going to get a lot of bass, a lot of rumble. This also comes with a bass controller, so you can run that to the front of the vehicle, turn your bass up and down as you need to, without having to mess around with the settings in the head unit. And then your wiring kit here, you just need a good 8-gauge wiring kit, so we're looking at the Stinger SSK8. So the price on the subwoofer box is £449.99, and the Stinger wiring kit is £24.99. So that brings your grand total to £1,014.97 or so. So you're just over budget, but I'm sure you could spend that extra 15 quid. Now, upgrading to the better quality head unit and better quality sub is going to end up improving your car audio system tenfold. So just changing the head unit, you're going to find that you're going to get better quality from your factory speakers. You've got a lot more tunability with that. And then obviously that opens the doors to be able to add a subwoofer and an amplifier into the system. Now this subwoofer here packs an ultimate punch, especially for the price point. You don't have to worry about fitting an amp, it's all in the side of it here. So this also opens the doors for you to upgrade the speakers later down the line, because your head unit has multiple outputs. So if you're looking to upgrade the door speakers and amplify them at a later date, you can also do that, which is obviously going to improve your clarity and mid-bass as well. Okay, so this is example 2. So this is your SQ type build. So we've gone for the focal slate fiber setup. So we have a component set for the front and a coaxial set for the rear. So we have separate tweeters for the front, built-in tweeters for the rear. So your components are £240 for the pair, and the coaxials are £200 for the pair. Now what you also need as well is a pair of speaker adapters per set. So a pair of speaker adapters is usually around 15 quid, so you need 2 of those, that's 30 quid. So we have already done a video on the focal slate fiber speakers, so we'll pop a link up here. Now you can expect an extremely good quality sound out of these focal speakers, as I've explained in the other video. Obviously Focal are renowned for their good quality sound. Now obviously if you'd like to push these a little bit more in terms of volume, you would need to run an amplifier, but for this £1,000 budget, we've left the amplifier out, but you're still going to get a good quality of sound. Now the next part is the subwoofer. So this is the Focal Sub P30dB. So this is a very, very good quality subwoofer for not a lot of money. Now this is coming in at £159.99. Now you will need a subwoofer box for this, so you can purchase a sealed enclosure from us as well. This is at £49.99. You will need an amplifier as well, so we have the Focal FDS 1.350. So this is a very, very good quality subwoofer amp, so it's a single channel, so you won't be able to run your speakers on it, but it's perfectly matched up for your subwoofer and is going to give you good quality. And I mean, look at the size of it, it's tiny. Now because you're adding an amplifier to the system and you're not changing the head unit, you will need a line-out converter. Now this is a Connections SLI 2.2. We have already done a video on this, so we'll pop a link above here. This is £60. This is going to give you your outputs to run into your amplifier. So make sure you have that. Now this brings your grand total to £1,035, or just shy of so. So again, you're just over budget, but for a good quality sound system like this, I don't think that £30 is going to go amiss. Now, compared to your first setup, you will find that your sound quality from your speakers obviously is going to be greatly improved. You're not going to have as much bass, but as I've explained, this is more of an SQ or sound quality build. So for the kind of person that's not going to be pumping the tunes, it's just going to be easy listening, driving down the motorway, having a nice, good time with a good quality sound system. The downside to this is obviously you've not changed your head unit, so you're not going to have the kind of the Apple CarPlay, the Android Auto, the Bluetooth streaming if you haven't already got it. So that's the only main downside, and obviously you're not going to have as much bass, but that's down to your personal preference if you want more bass. Okay, so this is our final setup here. So as you can see, it's a full JBL system. Now, as I mentioned, you're not going to be changing your head unit. So first of all, you are going to need your line-out converter. So we're looking at the LC2i here. Now, what this is going to allow you to do is have a sub and a center stage or a speaker stage setup. So you will only have 2 channels. So with this setup, you couldn't quite afford a 6-channel line-out converter, so front, rear, and sub. This is just going to have front and rear together, and your sub. So you won't have a front to rear fader, but that shouldn't bother too many people. Now next we have our speakers. So we have the JBL Club 6500Cs, very, very good mid-range component speaker set, very, very popular. And then we have the JBL Club 6520s, which is the coaxial for the rear. Now again, you're going to need speaker adapters for that. Okay, so your line-out converter is at £130, your front speakers are £110, and again, your front and rear speaker adapters come to roughly 30 quid. So for your subwoofer, we have a JBL Stage 1200B. This is a very good mid-range 12-inch driver with a ported enclosure that comes as one. Obviously, you can see you've got the bars over the front there to protect it from any damage. This is going to be pretty good for most small hatchbacks and some bigger kind of 4x4s, SUVs, that kind of thing. So this is at £180. Now we come to the main part of it, your amp. So this amp is a 5-channel. So this is going to be able to run your front speakers, your rear speakers, and your sub out of one small box. So this is a Club A5055 running 5 channels, running perfectly on this whole system here. Now obviously you will need a wiring kit for that. So we have an SSK4 4-gauge wiring kit. You have an additional RCA to run for your front and rear speakers, and we have some speaker cable here as well. So your 5-channel amp is at £360, your 4-gauge wiring kit is at £40, your additional RCA is roughly 15 quid, and your extra speaker cable is around 20 quid or so. And that all rounds up to £965. You're actually under budget there. So this setup, personally, I think is going to give you the best all-round sound. So the JBL speakers are very renowned for being good quality, but without a ridiculous price point. And obviously the subwoofer as well is going to give you a good amount of bass, but without being ridiculous again. And obviously the fact that you're running this all through an amplifier is going to be pretty loud. You're not going to need to turn it up all the way, and you shouldn't get any distortion from your speakers either. And the fact that obviously you're keeping your stock head unit, you're not having to change it, is keeping the price down as well. The only downside to this, obviously being not so much of a premium brand as Focal, the sound quality isn't going to be quite there, same as the Focal, but you'll definitely outperform them in terms of volume. Now just bear in mind, because we've gone with the LC2i, you won't have a front to rear fader. If you were to upgrade to an LC6i or an LC7i, you will have front to rear fader, but you'll also need to purchase an additional RCA. Now I know a lot of you out there are bass heads, and I know you're going to want to know what is the best option for your subwoofer in these 3 packages that I've made up. Now obviously, as I've said, the Rockford sub is going to be your best kind of big boomy kind of chest thumping bass. 500 watt RMS, the most power you'll get out of all 3 of these, and it's obviously a ported box as well, so that's going to amplify that even more. In terms of a good all-round bass for the system, this JBL is still pretty good, and the Focal is the best sound quality, so you're going to get the kind of the nice smooth rolling bass with that. It's not going to be too aggressive, and you'll get the most kind of musical sound from this bass. Guys, so that is it. We've looked at a car audio system under £1,000, or just under £1,000, should I say. Essentially, we've gone through 3 different options. As you've seen, we've gone through a head unit swap with a subwoofer, we've gone through a SQ setup, and my personal option for a all-round JBL amplified setup. So I hope you've enjoyed it. All the parts will be listed in the description down below, so make sure you check them out. And obviously we have done some reviews on certain products we've got out here today, so we'll put them in the link as well. Please bear in mind, these prices do not include labor. So if you're looking for a price, just give us a call or drop us an email. We'll be sure to give you a quote. Also, we do have a Klarna finance option for your payment. So if that £1,000 does scare you a little bit, don't worry, we can pop it on finance. You pay it off over 12 months or 6 months, however long it takes, so don't worry. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.